Well. Happy Friday to you guys. I hope you guys are having a great day, enjoying the potential weekend coming up. I hope you guys are going to have a great weekend. I apologize for, let me turn my audio down just a little bit. It's coming in a little bit too loud, I think. But I apologize a little bit for the show on Wednesday. We had it all set up and scheduled to go with the good folks over at Amp Coil. And we got so many emails from people trying to figure out if we were live. They wanted to ask questions and they wanted to jump on the live show. But unfortunately, we had a lot of sort of technical issues with Amp Coil, so we were unable to do that show. We apologize for that. But the cool thing is that we are going to be doing a show with them, I think in December. We're booked a couple months out. So we're going to be doing a show with them sometime in December, and so that's going to be really cool. For those that aren't aware, the Amp Coil is a really interesting device, and it combines. I think it's the only device I know about that combines PEMF therapy along with Rife frequencies, and I sort of do that on my own. I have an IMRS mat that I lay on every night and daytime, and I have a Rife machine as well, but this is kind of like a combined unit. So they're doing some really interesting things. The founder of Amp Coil has, or his body used to have Lyme disease, and so he's been able to have some pretty tremendous success using the Amp Coil with Lyme. So I apologize for that. So we have a great show lined up for you today. Today we actually were supposed to have Jason Prawl on the show coming in studio, but once again we ran into technical issues. It's like with so many technical issues. It's sometimes it's funny. You have a whole thing set out, right? Like you have I was all prepared for Jason, but sometimes the universe or God has different plans, and so that's what happened for today's show. We're going to have Jason in studio, so. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to do that, but I have a huge show planned for today, and I'm just going to kind of, as Hickson Gracie says, flow with the go on this. I've got a lot of things I want to share with you, some upcoming announcements, something that we're going to be launching in January, and I want to get your insights on, a trip that Kate and I are going to take here pretty soon, and I want to share with you guys about that because I think it can impact you as well. Pull up some interesting articles. One is 20 drugs that you should never be on, which I thought was interesting. And then a really interesting study about the actual real cause of cancer. And then I've got some ideas for improving your sleep that I want to share. And then a really cool cancer healing journey that someone sent to us that I'd like to read for you guys, as well as a fasting study that I think would be really fascinating for you guys, because right now I'm intermittent fasting, and fasting is a big part of my life, and so I want to share with you guys about that. And then this sort of substance that you can take, or if you don't take, it's the root cause, it says, according to this article, of all disease, cancer, diabetes, strokes, everything, a lack of this one substance. So I want to share with you what that is. Then I've got some thoughts from Dr. Jack Cruz about daylight savings time. Then we have a bunch of listener questions. One's about strokes, one is about coffee enemas, the other one is about dental health, and I want to share with you some ideas about meditation. So we have a big show planned for you guys today. So lots to talk about, lots to discuss. And what's kind of cool, if you guys are sort of unfamiliar with what we do here on Extreme Health Radio, is that, or the Free For All Friday shows, is that we sort of summarize and digest, I should say, what we learn about on the show. And so I see Maria is here from YouTube, so that's awesome. Hello, Maria. Great to have you. And so what we like to do on the Free For All Friday shows is to sort of all as a community take in the information that we are exposed to, because we're exposed to so much information on the show, So, it's kind of fun to just kind of go back and talk about the different shows. If you guys have any questions about any of the shows that we've done recently, or maybe you have some questions about some guests that we should have on, or you might have some questions about the Extreme Health Academy, or for me personally. For me, I really like to sort of vamp and talk about, how health relates to personal development and spiritual growth. That's kind of where I like to be. I'm really into that kind of stuff. And so, as I mentioned before on a lot of different shows, that health is just sort of one vehicle to get to that space. And so I'm always trying to work on myself, always trying to improve myself, always trying to get better, trying to just be more successful, just be more optimized, just dial everything in my life as much as I possibly can. And so health is one way to do that, right? Because if we don't have the energy and if we don't feel good, then we can't live an optimal life, right? So one thing that I'm going to start doing here, as you probably can see here, I'm wearing a flannel. If you're watching on the YouTube or Facebook version, I'm exposed to some more light here than I would like to be, and it's interesting because there was a quote from Oprah Winfrey, and I kind of disagree with it a little bit because it's not 100% true. It's probably half true, right? She said a while back, "When you know better, you do better." Tiki MVP Health and Beauty. Hello, how are you? Yeah, great to have you here. So, by the way, we broadcast live. I should have said that at the beginning. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10:45 a.m. Pacific time. So, if you guys want to join the live show, you can go to extremehealthradio.com. Check out our upcoming guests as well as links for the live show. So that'll be on the homepage there of Extreme Health Radio. So Oprah Winfrey said that when you know better, you do better, right? Well, that's not necessarily the case because, sometimes you know better and you just decide not to do better because you decided not to, So we've been learning a lot about light lately, and there's an interesting show that we did with Nathan Walz. Yes, Tiki, you're so welcome. And Maria, super glad to have you here. This is great. This is kind of like, I don't know what it is. I really enjoy doing the Free For All Friday shows because it's kind of like our chance to get together and hang out as a group and be together and kind of digest some of the guests on the show. Because I know you guys don't agree with every guest we have on, and I don't agree with every guest we have on. But the point of it all is to expose us to information, right? So this is kind of like our way of having a secret little meeting together and talk about the guests, behind their back when they're not looking, and see what's working with everybody. And so I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you guys have as well. But what was I talking about? So we're talking about, the show we had with Nathan Walz, and he was a cool guy. We're going to have him back on the show again. I'm really interested in interviewing and talking to more people about light and how light affects us. Because, I don't know, the past 5 years, I've been really into fasting, into light, water, and magnetism, as well as spirituality. And combining those three things, oddly enough, has nothing to do with food, right? Shira is here. Nels Oman is here. What's up, Big Healthy? Show me the light. Show me the light. That's so funny. But yeah, so as I continue to progress and continue to learn more, it allows me to have the option of choosing to do better, right? Like Oprah said, when you know better, you do better, but not necessarily, right? At least we have the choice now. And what it's really all about when it comes to health is choice. Ruth said, "Thank you for the great podcast." Oh, you're welcome, Ruth. We do our best. We do our best. And, to be honest with you, I don't see a lot of people who are putting a lot of the pieces of the puzzle together. There's few people that I know of in this field that are putting it all together, and there's still pieces I'm missing. So some people that I think are putting it all together are a guy by the name of Matt Blackburn. I really like him a lot. And Dr. Richard Massey and Meridian Grace. I'll talk about them in a little bit. But on the show that we, and John Bergman, yeah. That's right. Nels, that's so cool. Whereabouts are you guys from? I'm curious. Shira says here, greetings. Ruth and Nels and amazing people here. So I'm curious where you guys are from. We're currently broadcasting from Southern California, so a lot of cool stuff. But getting back to this episode with Nathan Walz about light, which I thought was really interesting. It's interesting. All you really need is like one piece to take away from something, and it's like reading a book, right? All you really need is just one or two ideas, and that's all you really need to sort of take action in your life. Nels is from Detroit, Michigan. No way. That's awesome. Lakeland, Florida. That's so great. Love to be connected with you guys. Wow, it's just amazing. Man, the internet is so incredible. what we have access to, guys, is like, it's never been in this history of the world. Palm Beach, Florida, Northern California, Faith's here. This is great. So what Nathan was saying, which I thought was really interesting, the one takeaway I got from that was this idea of creating melatonin locally, which I thought was really, really fascinating. So if you start looking into like what melatonin does in the body, everyone thinks it's like, oh, this sleep hormone. But in my understanding, there's over 4,000 different processes that melatonin regulates and works on in your body. So it's not just like a sleep hormone, right? I mean, it's kind of gotten that sort of tag, but it does much more than that. Namely, what they don't want you to know is that melatonin is the #1 anti-cancer hormone in the body. So what's interesting about what Nathan said on our show, and if you guys are watching, you may want to go back and watch this episode with Nathan Walz that we did. And I was just explaining the one takeaway I had from that. Sky Blue, your podcasts are great. Look forward to them every week. Oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. Yeah, this is a Free For All Friday show. So this is going to be us hanging out together as a group, kind of going and diving deeper into some of the shows we've done recently. Tiki says, where are you? We are in Southern California. Ruth is from Chatsworth. Oh my gosh, that's so great. So what Nathan was saying in this episode, which I thought was really fascinating with regards to melatonin, was not only is melatonin the highest anti-cancer hormone in the body, but I'm not sure if he said this or not, but what happens with melatonin is that we leak it out and we don't create it. So we create melatonin most notably in the morning by getting morning sun. And if you guys follow my Instagram, you probably saw that I was doing that this morning. And so that's how we create melanin in the skin, is what Nathan was saying, and melatonin. And we do that in the eye, which is so interesting, right? So we create it with that perfect color temperature of red, green, and blue in the morning sun while we're sun gazing. The problem is that we leak it, right? And so what Nathan was saying is that we can actually create melatonin in the skin on our solar panel locally, which I thought was really interesting, right? So he was saying, like, he goes, hey, Justin, what is the #1 cancer for men? And turns out it's prostate cancer, right? And he said, what's the #1 cancer for women? And he said, breast cancer. So where are the two areas of the human body that we don't get full spectrum biophotons from the sun? And what if we could create melatonin locally on our solar panel in the areas where people are diagnosed with the most cancer? So what does all that mean? It means that we should probably get our bodies naked in the sun. Right? Makes a lot of sense if we're creating melatonin locally. Teresa is from San Jose, California. Awesome. Great. This is really cool. Chatsworth. Ruth is from Chatsworth. Awesome. Yeah, so I thought that was a really interesting idea that Nathan shared, the idea of creating melatonin in the skin on our solar panel locally by getting in the sun every single day. And so that was a really, really fascinating show with Nathan Walz. So if you guys have any friends, if you're watching on Facebook or if you're watching on YouTube or if you have like a Facebook group or anything like that, I would invite you to share this with your audience. If you guys like the shows that we do, it sounds like you do. Share this link and share our shows with your audience if you can. That would be great. We would appreciate that. And if you're on Facebook or if you're on YouTube, make sure to hit the subscribe button. And I think there's like a little bell that you can get to get notifications when we go live. So that way you never miss a live show. Don't forget to leave a comment. And if you can, tag a friend. That would be great. We would appreciate that. Helping spread the word is really, really great about natural health and stuff. So I want to share with you guys something that's been happening and Kate and I have been thinking about lately is this, have a lot of people asking about this, and I'm wondering what your thoughts are if we should do this or not. And that is as you guys probably know, we are so busy with twins and trying to keep up with them. They're 3-month-old little twins. But we're thinking about, based on sort of demand and people asking us, opening up a health coaching side to the radio show, and we don't want to be able to take everyone, because this is like a really limited group that we'd be able to sort of open the doors to. But if you guys would be interested in that, send me an email and let me know if that's something that would be of interest to you, and if you would like that. Obviously, it would be limited spaces, and we probably wouldn't launch it until January. But I'm finding that, there's a lot of people out there with coaching, and when it comes to this kind of thing, and I don't see a lot of people putting together the spiritual piece, the light piece, and obviously the physical piece is the easiest place to start. And so there's all these different layers and levels for us to improve our health, and not just our health, but our life, our motivation. And it's one thing to improve your health, but what about the motivation to do that? That's more important than the actual improving your health itself, because if you don't have motivation, or you lose motivation, what's going to cause you to be disciplined into a health practice, when none of your friends are doing it, or none of your family are doing it, or your friends and family aren't really on board. They kind of make fun of you a little bit. What's going to be the thing that motivates you? Recently, you guys been following my Instagram. We've been so swamped with time, is that I've been forced to do my heavy, hard workouts at like 11:30 at night, and I do it under red light. And so, what's causing someone like me to force myself to do a workout that late at night when I'm exhausted? What causes me to say no to certain foods I shouldn't eat? What causes me to start taking up meditation recently, to really get out there in the sun, and the first morning sun, and to make your smoothies, and put in the effort to make your medicinal mushroom teas, and to put all these pieces together to live a healthy life, as well as biohacking your whole home so that you don't have any toxic exposures in your home. And so what's the motivating factors behind all of this? And so we're thinking about starting just a small little consulting with you guys, if you guys want to take us up and on our offer. And if you're interested, let us know. And let me see in the chat room if you guys are interested. Yeah. Okay. So a million gears. Rancho Cucamonga. No way. That's great. Kim is here from New York. A lot of cool people here. So yeah, so that's something that we're considering doing. So if you need help on your health and healing journey, if you haven't been able to put all the pieces together, and really need strategic motivation and insights into resources and things that you can radically do to increase your health, that's something that we're going to be considering launching. So based on the feedback we get for you, or from you, I should say. So that's something that we're thinking about doing, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And to be honest with you, this is why we're doing the live show. One of the live shows now is that I miss the interaction. We used to have a live audio show when we first started the radio show a couple years ago, but I miss that interaction with you guys. So this is another way of doing it on video, which I think is even better. But I'm really interested in meeting with you guys personally and helping encourage you guys and give you some insights and to help you through your health and healing journey. And I don't know, I feel like there's a disconnection right now with what we're doing. It's great and I love it, and it's fun. But I think there's nothing really replaces sharing energy with another human. You know what I mean? Like giving someone a real hug in real life, or shaking someone's hand, or having a good laugh with someone. So realize can't do that with you guys on the if we do the health coaching aspect of everything, because that itself will have to be a digital thing. We do it over the phone or Skype, but it would be more of a chance for us to connect and for me to meet you guys personally. So and with Kate as well. So I think it'll be a lot of fun. And Verge says, oh, wow. Gnome 1999 says, hello from Cologne, Germany. Verge Durgan says, new to you. Great radio program. Totally right with me. She's in Virginia and Azusa, California. That's great. That's great. Wow. How did you find out about us, Verge? I'm curious. Get new listeners from all over the world every day, and it's just really fun interacting with you guys. Nels says, while I'm alive, I'm going to live. I like that. I like that a lot. Houston, Reginald's from Houston. That's great. That's really, really great. Man, the power of technology to spread ideas and information, and not just ideas and information. It's like, what ideas are you spreading? What information are you giving and gifting to people? Because we all have a gift, right? We all have special, unique qualities and talents that are really important for us to share. So, it's really important for us to do what we can to help others. That's really what it's all about. Lisa says on Facebook, do you have any recipes or tips to keep our pet babies healthy? Do you mean like our pet babies, like our dogs? Or do you mean like actual babies, like our babies? Lisa, if you can let me know, that'd be great. Carlos says, is this live? Because I can't seem to get a real-time answer, almost as if you can't see my comments, but I do hear you interact with other people. So Carlos, yeah, I apologize for that. We are live, but it's kind of like a multitasking issue a little bit. So I'm pretty much keeping on tabs of the comments on our YouTube channel. So if you want to pop over to YouTube, I've spent a little bit more time over there communicating with people. So that's kind of why I forget to go over, because we're actually broadcasting to a lot of different channels and social outlets and things like that. Bonnie's from Michigan, Upper Michigan. I bet you're starting to feel a little bit of fall in the air. That's awesome. The last time I was on the show, I asked several questions, but I don't think you saw them. Are you able to see my comments? Thank you, sir. Yes, Carlos, we are. And like I said before, the best place would probably be YouTube. So go to Extreme Health Radio, or the YouTube channel for Extreme Health Radio, and that would be really, really great. Okay, so another little thing I wanted to share with you guys is that Kate and I are going to be taking some time off here in a couple months, sometime during the winter. We are going to be going to our favorite biological dentist, and in my opinion, the best biological dentist in the world. He is orders of magnitude better than anyone I've ever talked to, listened to, or watched their videos of, or experienced in real life. He is, the Mother Teresa, the Dalai Lama of biological dentists. And he's our dentist. And I went to him in 2010 when I first was on my journey into natural health, and I had all of my mercury amalgam fillings removed. And they did it with a dental dam, and they did it with special fans and IV vitamin C and acupressure, and this incredible process. He takes such great care of you. And so in 2010, I had all of those removed. That was actually pretty cool. Kate and I went to San Antonio, made a little road trip out of it. We went to New Orleans. That was really fun. Did all that stuff before, obviously, because it's pretty taxing to take your mercury amalgam fillings out. And then in 2013, I believe it was, we went back out because I had 4 wisdom teeth that were removed when I was, what was I, 20 years old? I don't know what it was. It was 2000, I think, or late 90s. I had 4 wisdom teeth removed, and I had them removed because my dentist told me that I needed to do that. And this was before I knew anything about natural health. And there was no signs, no symptoms, no issues, nothing. And my dentist just said that, and I said, okay. So like, why do we just, I think hopefully collectively as a culture, as a society, we're getting better at questioning doctors. Granted, I was only, 20 years old. What was I born? I was born in 75, so 85, 95. So maybe I was like 23 or something in 2025, whatever. Is that right? Something like that. But what caused me to just say, okay, I'll go have major oral surgery and take all 4 of my wisdom teeth out without having one symptom or one sign of, or one uncomfortableness of anything? The doctor just said, oh yeah, well, your wisdom teeth need to come out, and there's not enough room and space in your health, in your gums, and blah blah blah. You should get your wisdom teeth taken out. So like an obedient idiot, I said, okay, I'll go get my wisdom teeth taken out. And so the problem with that is that when you have your wisdom teeth taken out like that, most dentists will not remove the underlying ligaments and the tissue underneath that is connected to the tooth that run for, gosh, I don't even know how far down your jaw they go. But they're the ligaments that actually carry oxygen and vitamins and nutrients to your teeth. Your teeth are living organisms, they're bone, right? And so what happens is that because they don't take away those ligaments, and then the gums actually grow over the surgery site, so you got this sort of anaerobic infected pocket of rotting material in your mouth. And that's what they call a cavitation. So because according to Chinese medicine, our teeth, every one of our teeth correspond to a corresponding organ in the body, and these things reflex back and forth to each other. So let's say one of your teeth, you can look it up online and see where all of your teeth reflex to. And so your molar back here might reflex to your liver, and your liver goes back to here. And so that's why Dr. Stephen Hines, who was on our show a couple years ago, great guy, and Dr. Bob Dowling down in Mexico, was able to see actually a white line in an X-ray going from a woman's infected root canal all the way to the tumor in her breast. So these things correspond to one another. And so when you have infected ligaments and infestation with bacteria and anaerobic bacteria and all these things festering inside an area where no white blood cells or circulation can get to, that's what they call cavitations, and those are extremely, extremely damaging to our health and our immune system. They put such a burden on the immune system. So all of that to say, I had all 4 of my cavitations fixed by Dr. Stuart Nunley, and then I had, you can probably see here, I got a gap in my teeth, which I really am not a big fan of, but he took out 2 root canals, and he did an analysis of the contents that were in there, and man, you wouldn't believe what was in my root canals. It's like, I don't even remember. The words were so shocking. Maybe I've just blocked it out. It was like botulism, and like, I forget what it actually was, but man, it was really, really incredible what was festering in my root canals and in my cavitations. And so what we're going to be doing is going out to see Dr. Stuart Nunley for some follow-up care. And so we're going to be, now this is crazy, right? This is totally crazy. You think we're nuts? We probably are. We're going to take our 2 twins and drive for 20, 25 hours to go see our dentist, Dr. Stuart Nunley. So, you know, a lot of people, especially our friends and family, are like, why don't you just fly? Or why don't you just, well, we don't want to fly because of a lot of different reasons, most of which is non-native EMF and the age of our twins. And the inability to sort of protect them in the way that we want. But a lot of people are also saying, like, why would you go? Why would anyone go and drive 25 hours when there's a dentist like 2 miles from you? Well, the answer is because they're not Dr. Stuart Nunley. And they're A, not a biological dentist, and B, they're not him. Talk about one of the most skilled people I've ever seen. I can't recommend that guy enough. So what's really cool is they take care credit. So what we're going to do is use our care credit card and just throw it on there, and pay it off over time. And that's the way to do it, because you can't buy back time, right? If it takes you 5 years to pay it off, those 5 years you're going to be putting a tremendous burden on your immune system when you have infected oral pathology. And there's a study, there's a recent documentary that came out. I forget what it's called, but they did a study on breast cancer and women that have root canals, and it's like some huge high percentage. Let's see in the chat room, anything here? Let's chill Bonnie. Is Bonnie saying something? I don't see a Bonnie here. Let's chill Bonnie. It was a notification that came on my phone. Oh, cool. So Virgil was answering the question, how she found out about us. So you must have subscribed to our YouTube channel. That's great. That's awesome. Tiki says, wow, his name and local. So his name, I'm assuming you're talking about our biological dentist that we are sort of partial to. His name's Dr. Stuart Nunley. People fly in from all around the world. It's kind of like Dr. John Bergman. People fly in all around the world to see that guy, to see Dr. Bergman. It's the same way with Dr. Nunley. He's like, people fly in from every part of the world to get their mouth and teeth worked on. So yeah, let me see if there's any other questions about some of the things I have said. Oh, Susan says Stuart Dudley. How do you spell his name and where is he? Susan, that's awesome. Stuart Nunley. So if you type in healthysmilesforlife.com, I'm not sure if the 4 is FOR or the number 4. We've done a few shows with him. Healthy Smiles for Life. I'm telling you guys, outside of a couple other things that you can do, in terms of like what you can do on a physical level to improve your health, there's obviously, in my opinion, the first thing you can do to improve your health is to be connected with your mission and be connected with God and have some kind of spiritual practice. That's the best thing you can do for your health. The second thing you can do that's kind of bridges the spiritual and the physical is fix your light environment. That sort of bridges the physical and the spiritual emotional side of health. You're never going to achieve optimal health if your light environment is not good. So that's the second thing you could do to improve your health. And then the first thing you could do on a physical level to radically improve your health is to get your oral pathology fixed. That's my opinion. Because if you look at the correlation between disease, we've done so many shows with different people talking about this, about how the mouth and the oral health effectively is what some people say the root cause of all disease on a physical level. So Bonnie says, it's sad how we believed everything doctors told us before we learned all this new stuff. I had a gallbladder taken out, which now I wish I had more info about it. Now I watch you, Dr. Bergman, Dr. Barry, Dr. Berg, and many others. I do not trust any doctors now. That's great. Dr. Stuart Nunley is in Marble Falls, Texas. HealthySmilesForLife.com. Get your oral pathology fixed, my friends. Even Dr. Bergman does this too. He goes to a place down in Mexico. I prefer Dr. Nunley for lots of reasons. He's the most, what dentist is going to get to know you and talk with you and then pray with you before he does a surgery? What dentist has a spiritual practice where he, on a regular basis, wakes up at 4 o'clock in the morning and spends times with other guys who are also on a spiritual journey like he is? This guy's always looking, always learning. In fact, I'm going to send him an interesting video, and he's always open to new ideas. He's just got the best bedside manners of anyone I've ever known, and he's just and talk about, even if he had the worst bedside manners, his skills as a dentist. Like, you have to be genetically gifted to do this kind of work. And if you look at his story, he was I think they thought he was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, or I think he was mercury toxic, and that's how he got into biological dentistry. And now he understands the human physiology and how everything is connected. In my opinion, there's no one better. So it's worth it, right? It's worth it to make these trips and to take care of your health, right? So, I watched a documentary on Netflix a while back where people were traveling all the way to Brazil to see John of God, to get some work done on him. So if something is worth it, if your values are such that you actually care about yourself, then these things are worth it, right? Because like Dr. Jack Kruse says, if we're not good enough for ourselves, then who are we good for, right? So are we worth it to spend extra money on food? Are we worth it to go to a biological dentist who actually cares? So it's, in my opinion, it's worth it. Life is worth it, right? Think about all the energy that it took to create all of us, for God to be involved in that process, right? Or for the cells to come together in the womb, and for your mom to have to give up so much to give birth to you. And somehow we think we're not good enough to take care of ourselves. It's a little bit strange, right? So obviously God thought you were good enough, which is why you're here. And your mom and dad thought you were good enough, which is why they took care of you after you came here, right? And so it's up to us now to start minding our mitochondria, as a former guest on our show, Terry Walz, says. Susan said, I had to get the surgery done to help repair the pockets. Left quite the gap. It's better, but not perfect. Yeah. Go see Dr. Nunley if you can. I can't recommend him enough. But as to what Bonnie was saying, Bonnie, I really agree with you so much. And I did the same thing. You know, you say here that you had your gallbladder taken out, which, you know, this is the problem with doctors, is that they treat the body like a mechanistic machine. And even natural people are doing this now too. If people in the fitness field are doing this too. We're treating our bodies like machines when in actuality we're a repository of light that's how should I best describe this? We're like a bioenergetic energy field that contains light from God that's here in order to learn and to grow and to help others. We're not a machine. So you can't take something out and expect the machine to operate properly. You look at the Chinese meridian systems and you look at how qi flows in the body and how energy flows in the body. And so you start removing organs and there's consequences to that, you know, on multiple levels. And so that's why it's really, really important for us to really dial in our health and understand the totality of all of this stuff. So yeah, we're going to be going sometime this winter. We're going to go see Dr. Nunley, and I think what we're going to do is we're going to film some YouTube content for that. We're going to do like a tour of his facility there in Marble Falls, and we're going to do a podcast there with him. We're going to have dinner with him and his family, I think. And I think we're going to record some content for the Extreme Health Academy as well. Let me put his actually, you know what? Here, let me do this. You guys, a bunch of you guys are asking for his. Let me do extremehealthradio.com. Here, let's do this. Tag Stuart, Nunnally. So let me copy that, and I'll put a link in the chat room for Extreme Health Radio YouTube channel, and you can listen to some of the shows we've done and get access to his website as well. Did that go through? I hope so. Yeah. Okay. So a lot of you guys were asking for his links and stuff. You're an Animal says, yes, in the tooth, the nerves, these are meridian points for each organ set. An infection in a tooth can greatly impact associated organs. What's interesting also about that is that the organs also correspond to the tooth. And so the system goes both ways. And so your liver could be acting up and then you could have a toothache. Or you could have a toothache because your liver's acting up. And so these things are all intricate and intimately connected. So Cameron is here. Yeah, Cameron, I just shared his websites or the couple different shows we've done with Dr. Stuart Nunley. And you'll love his southern drawl. He's just a tremendous guy. Dr. B is how I found you and your beautiful wife. Oh, wow. Cool, Tiki. That's awesome. You know, we have to have Kate on the show. That's another one of our technology issues. We're working on that. Getting a Free for All Friday show with Kate on the show as well. Maybe we'll do another show like a fourth show per week or something, and add her on there as well. Have you interviewed Nathan? Reginald says, yes. Are you meaning Nathan Walz? If so, he's in our YouTube channel. So if you follow us on YouTube, which I highly recommend you do, you'll get access to all of the live shows. So if you follow us on if you follow us on iTunes, you'll get access to the sort of archived shows. And so those shows get released a little bit later. So if you want to keep up to date, like in real time, YouTube is the place to be. But also make sure to subscribe on iTunes as well and leave us a comment because that really helps us a lot. Yeah, Reginald, and that was the show that we just did with Nathan Walz. I'm assuming that's what you're talking about, that we did about light and why light is more important than food. Sounds crazy, right? Sounds totally crazy, but it is actually true. When you get out of the biological paradigm and you get into the nuclear, the other genome that no one talks about, which is the mitochondrial genome, which is affected primarily by light and electrons and photons and protons, and this is how the body actually operates. We turn all of our food into electrons. If you look at the mitochondria and the electron chain transport, you'll notice that there's no carbohydrate chain transport, or there's no protein chain transport. There's no macronutrient chain transport. Everything gets broken down to electrons. So then you start to have to ask yourself, well, then I got to get into like biophysics. I got to get into quantum physics and understand all this stuff. And it becomes another rabbit trail for you to really, truly understand that food has very little to do with our health. And that sounds so weird, right? I mean, it's huge, but it's not. And you can amplify the effect of food by amplifying or optimizing your light environment. So it's one of those things where, if food were the end all be all, then why would people be dieting? If fitness and exercise is all you needed, why would there be people that are still trying to lose weight and can't lose weight? So it's much more than food. Food is a small part of it. I said a while back that I put together a list of like 15 different things that impact our health, and I rated them and I put them in order. And food was like 13 on the list, in my opinion, in my research. So, although food is very, very important, obviously, but it's nowhere near what we think it is in terms of our health. Maria says, I fly all the way to El Salvador for my dentist. Great. Amazing lady who also has twins that are 18 now. See, this is what's so cool about you guys. You guys are so awesome. And I think that you guys are it's really cool to be hanging out with people like you, because these are, you guys are people that actually take care of your health. Before I knew better, Kate and I both went to a conventional dentist in Mexico because we lacked the funds to get all the work done. And Kate had some mercury fillings removed from her mouth without protection. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine going and driving all the way to Mexico and going to a non-biological dentist there, a conventional dentist, and have him remove mercury fillings from your mouth unprotected? I mean, it's crazy. It's so crazy. And she had probably a good 8-year stretch where she was affected by that, and that affected so many different things with her health, and she went on her own health journey as a result of that. And so it was fascinating. So Maria, to hear you say that you travel all the way to El Salvador, we did a show with a guy in, where was he? He was in, I think he was in Ecuador, Dr. Bob Dowling, and he works with people in their teeth, and that's who I was telling you about, who sees the X-ray with the actual line, the line going all the way from the infected root canal to the breast tumor. So that's pretty fascinating, right? So this is what's really cool, is that all of us, this tribe here that we have here, are really people that are trying to optimize their health. Sky Blue says, thank you for this podcast. I need to do this myself soon. I happily found you guys through watching Dr. John Bergman's videos. He's amazing. Yeah, Dr. Bergman's, I love that guy, man. He is such a cool guy. Sky Blue, I'm curious, have you joined the Academy yet? Because all of the courses that we have inside the Academy are taught by Dr. John Bergman. So yeah, we did one this month on, this month was all about, or last month was about heart health. This month is about adrenal health. And so all of our members get to vote on which course they want next. And so what's cool too is that I have access to so many different people in the natural healing and alternative health space. So we're going to be reaching out to other practitioners to provide courses and content inside the Extreme Health Academy. So it's becoming like the sort of Netflix of alternative and natural health. And so, and I have a ton of content myself that I'm working on putting inside the Academy as well. So we're diving very, very deep there. So one thing I want to let you guys know about the Academy too is that I don't know if you've seen our store lately, but I want to sort of throw this out there to you guys as just a way for you to sort of say thank you to you guys. If you purchase any of the products in our store, I'll put a link there. We'll give you, if you give us the receipt of the product that you purchased through our store, we'll give you a coupon code for a 30-day trial of the Academy. And so you can try it out. And so if there's something in our store that you like or have your eye on, you can check it out. And we'll give you a 30-day access to the Extreme Health Academy. So let me see if you guys are saying anything. I really like what you said here, Bonnie, though, about your gallbladder. Bonnie says this on Facebook, and now I don't trust any doctors now. Yeah, I mean that's what we are attempting to do and doing pretty successfully inside the Academy, is teaching us how to be our own doctors and to be on top of our health game ourselves. That's really ultimately what it's all about. And And let me bring up our show page here too, or actually our homepage. If you guys are interested in checking out some of the upcoming shows, just to give you a little update on what we have going on this next week here. On Monday, October 15th, 2018, we have Morley Robbins, and we'll talk with him about iron toxicity and the root cause protocol, which is really, really interesting. Had a lot of people email in asking us to have him on the show. I've known about his work for years, but there's literally so many people to talk to that I lose track, and we keep everyone in a database. But sometimes when you guys write in saying, "Hey, you should talk to so and so," it sort of reminds me to reach out again to that person. So that's gonna be a great show. Iron toxicity, so fascinating. Wednesday we're gonna be talking with Robert Carrillo from cancertutor.com. Cancer Tutor is a really tremendous website educating people about cancer and natural alternatives. It's sort of the natural news of for cancer, which is really fascinating. And then next Friday we have Allison. I'm not sure how you say her name. Huish. Huish, and we'll talk about her story with essential oils and a brain tumor, which was so her story was pretty fascinating. She was featured on The Truth About Cancer with my friend Ty Bollinger on that series, and so that's going to be a fascinating show talking with her. So this is what's so cool, as Bonnie was saying earlier, this is why I don't trust any doctors. On the same level as that is doctors, traditional medical doctors, God love them, they try, but they're just behind in the research, and I don't blame them for being behind. But not only that, there's contrary evidence showing people reversing catastrophic diseases, not only without pharmaceuticals, but using natural substances. So the question then begs is, wouldn't the doctors want to know that? And the answer is no. The doctors don't want to know that, because it doesn't matter to them. Think about this. It doesn't matter to them how you healed yourself, because they can't do anything with that knowledge anyway. In fact, it's a threat to them, because think about it. They're trapped. Doctors are completely trapped. Lisa says big pharma scan, big money. And that's true. Because think about a doctor. A doctor goes into massive amounts of debt, right? $200,000-$300,000 worth of debt for school. Then taking out massive amounts of debt to start a practice, right? To buy all the equipment, to pay for the receptionist, to pay for all the people, to pay for the labs, and then they go into and then they probably go into practice with 3 or 4 partners, so they're splitting profits. And then on top of that, they go into massive amounts of debt because now that they're a doctor, they have sort of a lavish lifestyle, right? They buy a home, maybe they buy a vacation home, cars, kids, all the stuff, and then you come along and tell them that you used essential oils and you use artemisian and you use 714X, or you used Halin 951 to overcome your cancer, or some other natural substance. What can they do with that? So now they have all this debt. They have to earn $20,000, $30,000 a month, or whatever monthly they make, right, to pay off their loans. And so now you come into the thing and you tell them that's what happened. It's a threat. It's a threat to their system, because they can't do anything with it. Even if they saw the clinical evidence, they still can't do anything, because in order to do anything, to have a right conscious about what they're doing, is that they actually have to stop what they're doing and start doing some research and finding out that what they're doing is killing people, and finding out how people are turning their lives around using natural therapies. So that's why they can't do anything with it, because it would ultimately cause them to probably lose their practice. If they lose their practice, then they lose their livelihood. If they lose their livelihood, they're most likely going to cause strain in their family. So they're going to lose their home, their vacation home, their wife, their kids, their husband, whatever it is. So of course, doctors are not going to be open to learning about what happens if you take something natural and overcome something, because it directly affects their ability to enjoy their life. That's really ultimately what it comes down to. So that's what's challenging. And so I don't expect doctors to ever be open. But every now and then, like you get a guy like Dr. Richard Massey, who is a former anesthesiologist, start talking and start going on this insanely deep quest in his own life to learn and to research. And so when people like that come along, like Dr. Lissa Rankin is another one, you can research her. There's a lot of people who have come out of the medical field, and those are the types of people that we have on our show. I tell you what, and as far as I'll share with you something that's really sort of awkward about the show. The probably most awkward people to talk to are people that are connected to a device or a product. And I don't mind talking with people about that, because it's not like we are shying away from things. If something like the amp coil or something like the relaxed far infrared sauna in our store improves your health, then it's my job to tell you about that. And it's what they call like a right livelihood, to really promote products or people or ideas that you really believe in. There's nothing wrong with that. But the problem with that is that they can't say a word about what their products actually do. So those are awkward people to talk to, because you kind of have to dance around, because we're both, if we have a product like the relaxed far infrared sauna that we stand behind, it's in our store, we can't say anything about it other than it makes you healthier, right? And so it's like, you can say a bunch of general things, but you can't say anything specifically, and especially not with a label or a diagnosis. You can't say it affects anything in regards to that. So those are really awkward people to talk to, because you can't really say anything. We can talk about things, but you can't say much of anything. And then the other people that are really difficult to talk to as well are people that see and sort of have come to the light in alternative natural health, but they still have an active medical license, and they want to hold on to that. Because then they can't say anything either, because although we're not selling anything, if they make claims or they say something that's going to impact their license, then they can get their license taken away. So it's really become this sort of like, it kind of reminds me of Hunger Games, right? That movie, or it's what the people at Sota Instruments, I was having a conversation with them, sort of private conversation. And I was telling them that some other experiences I've had with people selling stuff, and it's this idea that at some point they're going to retroactively start monetizing and legalizing names and words and actual words and phrases. So then they can go back and sort of grandfather clause and go back and prosecute people that are making claims about a new sort of disease process that they just sort of made up. And so that's why we're so careful not to say anything cures anything, or, the only thing that cures the body is the body, right? And God, light, water, magnetism, yourself, God, this connection to each other, this is the real healing, right? So those are the kind of awkward people that we talk to sometimes, and you probably can sense it in some of our shows. You can't really talk about much, right? Tiki says, Health and Beauty says, does the Academy course qualify as continual educational credits? No, but that is something we've been looking into, actually. And at some point, we might make that switch over, and we've got to look into the qualifications for that. But I can tell you this, that what's inside the Academy now is what should be taught in every school classroom. I can tell you that. Let me bring up some of the courses that we've just done, and you can take a look. Tell me if you guys can see. Right now I just see a big black line. Let's see. Can you guys see that? Yeah, okay. So the course that we just did in last month was about heart health. The other one was about autoimmune diseases, cancer, preventing cancer naturally, building invincible immunity, balancing your hormones. These are like 4 or 5 hour courses, some of them, and should have all been taught in class, right? The complete guide to improving digestion, the nervous system. If you guys fully understood and went through these courses and put into practice everything the courses talk about, health issues would be prevented in a huge way, huge way. So what was I talking about before? I was sort of rambling on. Oh, the course credits. Jennifer Daniels on our scheduled. Yeah, Dr. Daniels is cool. We're going to be working with her. We might do something with her for the Academy as well, because she's a wealth of knowledge. She's been on our show before, I think twice, but it's time to have her back on the show. Let's see. Noam says, last year my dentist said that I need my lower wisdom teeth to be removed, even though I had no problems with them. Noam, that's the same thing my dentist told me. After that, I had jaw problems, which I fixed with mewing. Be like Bonnie, guys, in the Extreme Health Academy Facebook page. Don't trust your doctors. Do your research. Do your research. You know, they're just giving to you offers. It's just an offer. And frankly, it's not even a good offer. It's an offer of 50% of the equation that doesn't even work, really. Surgeries work. You know, acute trauma care works. You know, they can bring people back to life pretty effectively. You know, they have good protocols for things. But man, my God, whatever you do, ask your doctor questions. And pretty soon you're going to find out that your doctor is not going to be happy with you. And this is the issue. So this is on us as a culture, as a society. Here's what we need to do. If we're going to be intent on seeing doctors, all of us collectively need to start asking our doctors questions. What's going to happen is that doctors are going to get very upset. They're going to get very short with you. They're going to get annoyed with you, and most likely they're going to be probably kick you out of their practice and not allow you to go see them. And if you keep doing this with every doctor that you see, eventually, if everyone starts to do this, it's going to start making doctors have to go back and either question the medical paradigm or go back and do their own research. And when they start doing their own research, they start realizing their entire paradigm is falling apart right in front of their eyes. And they're going to have a midlife crisis to the nth degree that's going to cause them to shift and to grow. Tiki says, the money trap. The importance of financial health is huge so that we can grow and remain healthy and free. Learning this enables money to stay a tool and as our finances grow healthfully. You know, that's so true. That's so true. It's so important to be able to have the resources, because money doesn't solve your problems, but money does alleviate stress from some degree. If you get stressed, or money does open up doors of opportunity and allows you to spend money on things like, you know, some of the machines that we sell in our store through Marcus Marcus Freudenman, the PEMF devices, the high powered ones. You know, those are like $30,000. I don't think you need those to be healthy, but you know, if you had endless amounts of money, a machine like that can radically improve your health much quicker. So, you know, money is unfortunately part of the whole sort of trap that they have here. They have us all roped into using these Federal Reserve notes, which that in and of itself is a whole entire different podcast. You get into legal versus lawful and money and how money's created and the birth certificate and all of that stuff. So suffice it to say, even though we think we're free, we're not. But ultimately, we do have choice over how we live our life and where we spend our money. And it's really important to spend your money in places that are going to be, they're going to support you on your mission. So like buying a new car doesn't really support me on my mission. So I drive a piece of junk Toyota because I don't care about cars. I don't really care. I'd rather have an IMRS machine, and a relaxed far infrared sauna and an ozone device than a nice car. I don't put value in those things. If you have the money for both, then that's great. But I highly recommend to you guys to spend your money wisely when it comes to your mission. So what that means is that it translates to having enough self-worth and self-care that you care about yourself, so that you want to eat the best food possible, and that you feel like you're worthy of that, and that you are worth it. And that's really what it comes down to. And so putting your money into places that's going to help you be healthier, so that you have more energy for your children, so that you have more energy for your job and your career and whatever that does, and you have more energy to help people, to be there for your parents if they're older, or for your children if they're younger. We can't do any of this stuff if we're not alive. And these things, like the products in our store, they're not going to cure you of anything, but they're going to speed up the healing process. They're going to help you along your way. But you don't need them to be healthy. But what I'm saying is that it's really important to spend our money wisely and support organic, support people doing good work. And that's really what I'm a big fan of. So I see the chat room going crazy here. What do you do? What to do if your teeth have amalgam fillings? What options rather than $1,200 per tooth for a biological dentist? Well, the first thing you could do is to Tranquil Waves. I like your name. Is to make sure that you don't use hydrogen peroxide as a way of off gassing the mercury fillings. So make sure you don't brush with that if you have mercury fillings. The other thing you can do is also make sure to be aware of the warmth of foods too, because warmness, heat, will cause the mercury fillings to off gas just a little bit, and you don't want to be breathing those vapors in. And in my understanding, these vapors last a lifetime. So the other thing I would do is look at some of our shows in the dental section of our website and pick up a book called The Cure. Is it The Cure Tooth Decay Now, or is it Cure Tooth Decay by Ramil Nagel, Ramieal or something, Nagel. Go to Amazon. Go through our link if you guys want to support the show. We have an Amazon link on the homepage of our site, extremehealthradio.com. Go through our link there and pick up that book from Ramil Nagel, and that will give you some really in-depth protocols for that. And we're going to be doing some content for this inside the Academy as well here pretty soon. So lots of stuff coming inside the Academy. Do you support Ray Peat, Danny Roddy type of diet, or do you think it raises blood sugar too high? There's a lot of people doing a lot of research. We had Danny Roddy on the show a while back, if you guys want to peruse our archives. Ray Peat, he is on the list of people to reach out to. I got really into that, his work years ago. I don't know. I'm not, for me, I just intuitively, I'd have to see some research, but my intuition tells me that the sugar for me is too high. I know a lot of people are into him, lately. I know my friend Matt Blackburn's getting really into Ray Peat's work. And, a lot of people that support him. We had another guest on our show who's a practitioner of Ray Peat. I forget what doctor, a woman doctor. But, yeah, a lot of people swear by it, and a lot of people think it's the cat's meow. I don't know. What I would suggest is you to try it and see how it works for you. If you think it works, great, then keep doing it. I intuitively, for me, at least right now in my life, I'm not really following that kind of diet. Although I will say Danny Roddy was really a fun guy to have on the show. Yeah, he was on years ago. Really great guy. Interesting guy, too. Let's see. Staying out of debt is key. That's true. Debt, man, wage slavery and debt is where they have us, don't they? That's not even counting understanding really what debt is, too. That's a whole separate thing. Understanding how to use and leverage debt. On the public side, if you get into the work of people like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, but then on the private side, which is where all of society runs off the private side, which we never see. That's through contract law. And so understanding debt from the public side in the work of Robert Kiyosaki, the Rich Dad, Poor Dad work, and people like him. But then the private side is where all the action happens, which you never hear about on the news. The private side of the monetary system is kind of like the natural healing side of the medical system or of the health system. You're never going to hear that on the news. You're only going to hear about the puppeteering stuff that happens and the dog and pony show that is the politics and everything we hear about in the public. That's all public. That's all theater. It's all just a show. None of it's true, and none of it impacts your health and your life. Maria says, that's what happened with doctor who diagnosed me. I asked so many questions and delaying surgery, so she told me to go somewhere else and get a second. Oh, Maria, you rock. That's awesome. Yeah, we had a question every week. On Sundays, we do a Q&A with the members of the Extreme Health Academy. And this is really cool. A guy who had a torn meniscus. I forget what his name was, one of the members of our academy. And he was asking, it was me. So we do a members hangout twice a month, which is me, my wife, Kate, and Dr. Bergman's son, who is just a wealth of information. So the three of us sort of answer everyone's questions. And then twice a month, Dr. Bergman and I answer everyone's questions as well. So on this members hangout, this guy was asking about he wanted to get meniscus surgery, and we gave him a list of like 15 things that he could do that he had never heard of to avoid having meniscus surgery. So if you're accessing that, if you are a part of the academy, it was I think it was the September #2 members hangout. If you guys are listening to this, 5 years into the future and you want to see September 2018 members hangout #2 is where we gave him. But the thing is like Maria was saying, what about, ask your doctor questions. There's so many things that your doctor's never heard of that can help your body. So Maria, that's awesome. TBG Mags is responding to Tranquil Waves. Agree. What options do we have than spending savings on biological dentistry? Get the book Cure Tooth Decay. That would be the best resource, and it goes into much more detail than I'm able to give here. I believe some of my issues. Yeah, so check this out. We have a picture on our Facebook, or I'm sorry, on our Facebook, YouTube, all these social media accounts, on our Instagram account from years ago. So Kate was dealing with these sort of warts on her hands, and this was so interesting. Talking about the Chinese meridian systems of the body, she was dealing with these warts on her hands and tried everything. She tried natural stuff from Walmart, or not Walmart, but Walgreens, and all these things, and nothing worked. Nothing got rid of these warts. And she must have tried for like a year and a half to get rid of these warts that were sort of growing on her hand more and more. And let me just... man. Whew. Nothing like good, clean water. So she was working on these warts for probably a good year and a half. And then so we went out to see Dr. Nunley, and Kate had a bunch of work done as well. Cavitations, root canals, mercury fillings removed. She had the whole thing done by Dr. Nunley. And then within like 3 days, those warts that were on her hand were completely gone. Crazy, right? Just totally crazy. I mean, how do you explain that? Unless everything is truly connected. Truly, truly connected. There's a picture on our Instagram somewhere of that. Let's see. You guys are talking about some cool stuff. It's so much fun hanging out with you guys. I really, really enjoy this. I wish we could do all this in person. I just sent Michael Bergman and Dr. Bergman a video of Del Bigtree on Facebook. If you follow him, he's got a show called The High Wire, and he did a sort of a panel, sort of like an event with a whole studio audience, and there's about 6 or 7 people, doctors and researchers that were on stage talking about vaccines and all of that. And I sent that to Dr. Bergman and to Michael, saying, I think that would be amazing to do something like that, have an in-person thing with all of our Extreme Health Academy members, and to do in-person events one day. So stay tuned for that. Let's see. Clint Richards of Corporation Nation has a good material he presents too. Okay, so I will look at that. Always be open to information, guys. I've never heard of Clint Richards. But I've done a lot of research into this type of Corporation Nation. Always be open to receiving information, because you never know what information you could be getting that could radically transform your life. Full of candida and skin issues, autoimmune, going to trust Dr. D and start the turpentine protocol. Cool. Dr. Daniels, you said. Yeah, okay, awesome. Yeah, you can sign up for Dr. Daniels' turpentine protocol on her website. I think it's vitalitycapsules.com. Ivar says, howdy. Are you from Texas? ASEA is antifungal. Yeah, My Boring Life. ASEA is antifungal. Yeah, I've heard some good things about ASEA. It's sort of a multi-level marketing thing, I think. So you have like a downstream of people, and you have to get people signed up. I'm not really into that, but I've heard good things about the product itself. Tranquil Way said, maybe I should go to Mexico to have them removed. I know people have done that. Yeah, if you're, it depends where you're located. I know just south of here in California, there's American Biolodental, that are some good resources there. But you could very well be, in Texas or something. So American Biodental would be a place to look at if you're going to go to Mexico. He did a documentary on vaccines called Lethal Injection. Yeah, was that Del Bigtree you're talking about? You're an animal. Petra says, do you know Professor Bruce Lipton on light activates proteins? Petros, I do, and we've had Dr. Bruce Lipton on the show. Peruse our archives and check those out. And we've had. I mean, this is 618 shows, so we've had a lot of people on the show. So go check out our archives on our show. Listen to the one with Dr. Bruce Lipton. That was really cool. Got to tune in to Crow 777 Radio if you're interested in learning more about the bullshit construct we find ourselves in. Justin, yeah, I'm very familiar with Crow 777. Yeah, I know about him as well. So it's funny because I do a lot of research into things other than health as well. And so, this is why I've started another podcast actually, but haven't officially launched it on YouTube yet. But it's available or I haven't officially launched it on iTunes, but it's on YouTube. All of our other shows, and we dive into a lot of cool stuff. So, Crow 777 Radio on YouTube. Check him out. I've watched many of his materials. And you guys are probably wondering, like, how do I watch so much stuff? It's because of the sauna. It's the sauna that allows me to do it because I do everything in double speed or 1.5 speed, depending on who is the presenter. So I'll go in the sauna and I'll put together a playlist of a bunch of videos. And in our sauna, the one that's in our store, the Relax, we put, your head sits out of that thing. And so what I like about it is that I would go crazy if I was sitting in a sauna. I mean, I can't meditate in a sauna. I've tried multiple times. It's not my thing. I can't do it. But I can meditate outside of a sauna just fine. But when I'm in a sauna, I want to learn something. And the Relax Farnford sauna allows me to do that. So I put everything on 1.5 speed. I'll watch documentaries. I've probably watched a good at least 5,000 documentaries having done this over the past probably 8 years since we've had our sauna. So anyway, that's why I love the Relax. One of the reasons. Maria, good to have you here. Good to have you here. Awesome. See, Justin, this is what I was saying. You gave me a smiley face about this stuff. And it's interesting because, like I was saying before, there's not a lot of people that I see out there that, not to toot my own horn, but I'm just so interested in so many different subjects, and I go down rabbit trails, whether it's regarding health or finances or history or science or religion or spirituality, all of this stuff. There's probably not a concept out there that I at least haven't heard of, let alone have actively pursued and done some research in. So, even in the alternative health field, not a lot of people are putting together all the pieces. I see people focusing on food. I see a lot of people focusing on spirituality and not understanding the role of food, or a lot of people focusing on food but not understanding the role of the nervous system and chiropractic care, or a lot of people focusing on light like Dr. Cruz and not understanding, in my opinion, the role of spirituality and recall healing and family constellation therapy and timeline therapy and emotional healing. And personal development. There's a lot of people in personal development, but they don't understand the light piece, or the people that are in personal development don't understand the food side of things. And so there's a lot of things, and all of that I just said is basically just about the health area. But my interests also go into like government, where money comes from, the monetary system, spirituality, conspiracy theories, looking into just about everything. And so that's kind of why I really enjoy doing the Academy, is because I can bring together a lot of different insights from different things that people aren't talking about. So like one of the things that was brought up not brought up to this person inside the Academy last month about his torn meniscus was something called Redefining. And that's something I came across in my research that's sort of similar to like stem cells and PRP. But then there's ozone therapy, and there's prolozone, and there's like things that were never brought up, but it's all stuff that can help. And so I love researching a wide variety of topics. And so health is just sort of one sort of small piece of what I'm interested in. And really, to be honest, the living an optimal healthy lifestyle basically just supports me to research other stuff, really what it's all about. And so in order for me to live till I'm 150 with you guys in the chat room, hopefully you guys want to live there or live this long. And in order to make a change in the world and to understand how the world really works, I need time and resources to do that. And in order to do that, I need energy. And so the way to get energy is to optimize your health. And so for me, it's not about health optimization in as much as always trying to optimize your health so that you can go do something useful with it, right? So you have all this extra energy. You've effectively gotten rid of your disease, whatever the disease process is. You've grown from it. You learn from it. Now what? Now what are you going to do with your time? So like if you were supposed to die from a disease at the age of 60, but now you've overcome it naturally, now you live another 15 years. Well, the real question is, what are you going to do with those 15 years? Right? So some people might want to teach other people how to be healthy in those 15 years, and that's awesome. Some people might want to expose the monetary system that we are living in, and that's awesome. But what is it that you want to do with your extra time that you got as a result of becoming healthier? That's the real question of all this stuff. So I don't like to focus on the health, even though I am focused on it, a huge, big part of my life. I mean, I spend most of my time researching health and being involved in health, but I'm radically interested in so many of these other aspects of life as well, just as much, if not more so, than health. And so that's why I like to bring a lot of these different ideas. If you guys want to go to my website, my other website, I don't really talk about it much because I haven't had a chance to really post there, but it's at justinstellman.com, and that's where I the last probably year or so. You'll see all the documentaries I've watched in the last year from doing my sauna. I put every documentary that I watch in the sauna in there. I've written a handful of articles, mostly about spiritual growth and personal development, which is something I'm interested in. That's the main thing I'm interested in. And this health stuff is just sort of a way to get there. I never would have got there if it weren't for my mom being diagnosed with cancer in the mid-90s, and that propelled me on a huge transformational life process. You're an Animal says 5,000, that's my dream. Yeah, it's interesting. But information overload, and what do we do with that information is really the key. You're an Animal, it's cool that you're here because I see you a lot, and it's really fun to have you here, and I just like that you guys are all pursuing excellence. It's a holistic thought process we have always be working to master. That's true. My boring life. Truthers are saving the world. Thank you. Yeah, totally. We do what we can to bring information and ideas out there, right? So the ultimate idea is to bring information and concepts to people's reality, whether it's natural health and natural healing or some other crazy, bizarre concept, to get people to think and to start realizing that there's much more to this life than we've been told. That's really ultimately what it's about, because the construct that they have us living in right now is one that is designed to keep you disempowered and designed to make you think that you need them. It's a constant sales pitch to make you think that you need them, right? That's what all this voting crap is about. Voting is a complete joke. Voting doesn't do anything. Voting doesn't effectively change any of our lives. Voting doesn't do anything but make you feel like you did something to change while you continue this unhealthy lifestyle that you're living, right? It's like having extra cells in your body, and you take a wheatgrass juice and you think it's going to change something, right? If you have an extra mass of cells in your body? I'm not even going to say the word to give it power, but if you have these extra cells in your body, what's required is a complete and total spiritual, mental, emotional life change and environment change. Complete, radical, 180-degree turnaround from the way you're living. That's what's required, right? So by voting for someone, we think they're going to change the way we live. That's like taking a wheatgrass juice when there's a cancer cell, a massive cancer. And the massive cancer ultimately is the people that you're voting for. So just think about that for a while. So voting to me is just a complete waste of time. We have other things, vote with how you spend your money, vote with who you spend time with and what you're putting out into the world and how you're helping people. Make the world a better place, and you have no need to vote, right? So voting just becomes and plus the whole voting system, the way it's put together, you start watching some documentaries about about the voting system. It just becomes it's a dog and pony show, my friends. Just don't get caught up in any of that stuff. They're not going to change your life. These people, the only people who can change your life is you. And this is where the hard work comes in. This is where all the stuff that we talk about on our show, it's hard work, like I haven't done a coffee enema. I'm going to get back to doing them, but it's hard work to do the coffee enema. I got to re-educate myself on how to do them again, because I did them for a good couple years and then I stopped. And I've stopped for probably 3 years now. And so I want to get back to them, but then I have to, get back to re-educating myself. It's hard work, this stuff. And so to ultimately be free and to live the life that you're born to live and to be the person you're supposed to be and to learn the lessons in this life you need to learn, it takes work. It takes a lot of work. Understanding who we are, where we are, what's going on, how we've been lied to, and how we can ultimately empower ourselves. That's really really what it's all about. P.S. The reason Dr. B got my attention was because he understood the whole picture, and I thought, wow, he gets it. So then he led me to you. Awesome. Cool. Yeah, we all have a piece of the pie, right? So you have people like Dr. Joe Dispenza, who's been on our show. Dr. Bruce Lipton, been on our show. All of these people give you one slice of a pie. And for me as well, I represent one slice of the pie to you. Dr. Bergman might represent another piece of the pie. But ultimately, the pie becomes almost like an ever-growing representation of its own ability to scale, so that there's never any people like you can't get enough people to represent the entire pie, because there's always going to be something more. And so that's what I encourage you. Always do your own research. Man, I did not expect this. I had so much to talk about. But you guys like this, what we're doing so far? If so, let me know, because I have so many things. I could go on for another couple hours with all the different things that I have in my notes to talk about. But I've just been so much fun talking with you guys. So let me look. Let me look. You guys are talking about some cool things. Sean, great to have you here. Sean Drebin. I've done PEMF on people who did PRP and Prolo. Synergy is phenomenal. I've done constellation work and loved it as well. Interesting, Sean. So what I'm curious about with you, that's an interesting combo. Did you do high dose PEMF therapy, or did you do low dose? Or low power, I should say. I would imagine the high power. So that would be an interesting combo. If you got like a Redefining stem cell PRP, prolotherapy, and then you do high dose PEMF or high frequency to help heal. And for those that are interested, I had a 80% torn ACL in my right knee from doing jiu-jitsu, which, by the way, is one of my favorite sports in the world that I haven't trained in 10 years. But jiu-jitsu is an amazing sport. But I tore my right ACL 80%, and I had prolotherapy in it and never had surgery. So these are the things. Like, this is the power. My knee isn't 100%. I will say that. And I'm going to do Redefining, PRP, and stem cells. But there's ways to avoid surgeries. And this is the power of this stuff. So you're not going to hear this on Channel 9 News. You're an Animal says 150 is my target minimal age too. Interesting. These knuckleheads who think living longer than we already do automatically implies suffering and torment. These people need to stop the self-loathing. That's so true. Tiki says it's exciting to find others to grow with. I agree. And this is why I love doing these shows so much, because reading your comments, I don't know about you guys, but do you guys feel like there's not enough people in your life that really understand you and really get the kind of things that I've been talking about? People that don't want to invest in themselves. Maybe they're childhood friends, but you're still friends with them. But you've gone on this path of self-discovery and spiritual growth and journey and changing your health and changing your mindsets about things. And everyone else is kind of doing what they've always been doing, and they've been kind of doing their thing. And, they're really depressed about their life, and they're on 5 different medications, and they're overweight, and they're depressed, but they're still your friends, right? Like you spent time with them, you grew up with them, but you don't have any, so you can operate within a little narrow window of being with those kind of people. Like I can operate, and if I go outside the box just a little bit, I know where their margins are. I know what they'll start getting angry about. I know how they'll start shutting down. So I can stay within this narrow window. But those aren't really friends, right? I mean, they're friends. They're friends basically because you've been friends with them for a long time. But it's really cool. It's really cool to be with a group like you guys. Justin says, what do you think you'll do with the puzzle once you've gotten all the pieces together? Justin, I don't think that's possible. I don't think it's possible to put all the pieces together. I really don't. You ever see those kind of mind-bending images that sort of zoom in like it's a satellite image, and it kind of goes down to a beach, and when you get closer, it kind of it keeps going on forever and ever and ever. I think ultimately what my desire is to act upon and become the fullest potential of why I'm here, and to learn the lessons I'm here to learn. And if I only figure out 30% of what it's actually going on, at least within that 30%, I had an exciting and fun time doing it. And I helped people along the way. And so I don't think it's possible to put all the pieces together. There's a lot of people saying different things of where we live in this holographic universe, and certain people are lizards, and there's aliens, and some people say we live on a flat earth, and some people say that we, the government is trying to hide things from us, and it's ultimately interesting to explore all of that. And so that's why I stay healthy. That's why I try my best to do everything I can to be healthy, so that I have the energy to help people and to help spread knowledge and information. And essentially just ideas that you can think about, because there are ideas that I've played with and I just don't resonate with and I don't believe are true anymore. And so, it's but spiritual growth is what it's all about, getting healthier. Because when you start to get healthy, then you start realizing that growth is possible, and you're not focused so much on your symptoms anymore. I've researched growth and journey since 2007, but I've always been curious and not closed-minded throughout my life. That's awesome. That's the thing, is remaining and becoming open-minded is, I think, one of the most beneficial things we could do. Because ultimately, what are concepts and what are ideas? They're just thoughts that are out there in the ether. And we can choose to do something with those thoughts if we so please. But when we fixate on them and get angry about them and buy into them, then things start changing in our life. And then we get solidified into this idea that we are a certain thing. Or, as soon as we start turning verbs into nouns, we prevent the expansion of the growth that we came here for. And so when everything is a verb, when I'm diseasing myself, when I'm heart attacking myself, when I'm cancering myself, all of these things are verbs. And so I look at ideas and concepts as just like tools in a toolbox. What am I here to do? And does this idea help me do that? If this is a hammer and I've got a ton of nails in a toolbox, and I've got a task to do, if effectively taking on some idea helps me build that house and helps me hammer the nail into the piece of wood, then that concept did its job. As soon as the house is built, then I can let go of that. But I don't at any time fool myself into thinking that I am the nail, or I am the hammer, or I am the house. I'm doing these things and I'm a part of this process, but I'm not effectively any one of those things at all. So they're just there. Ideas and stuff are just there to help us to grow. And once the growth is complete, then we can move on to another idea and completely abandon previous ideas, which gives us tremendous freedom because we don't have to be nailed down into this idea that we are a certain thing. So that's why I'm always exploring everything, especially when it comes to health. What about dental composite fillings? Gnome 1999 says, are they bad for your health? Should I get them removed? Dental composite fillings. Depends what they're made of. Here's how sort of, I guess, into it I am. I had a removable retainer that was given to me by a dentist after Dr. Nunley that was fitted for me, but I decided not to wear it for 4 years, mainly because I didn't like the way I talked with it. I spoke. I kind of had this lisp. It was really weird. But also because of the plastic that it was made with and the metal. So you got to think about things like if you have mercury fillings, we're moving into a time where there's 4G and 5G. So now we got to start asking ourselves, how do those mercury fillings interact with the environment around us, namely non-native EMF? So that's something to consider. If you have any kind of fillings like that, I'd get rid of them. Vote with what you do with your time, Justin says. So true, my friend. So true. Man, there's so many cool people talking about cool stuff, man. Tranquil says, I just called American Biodental. Nice. Dude, Tranquil Waves, you're a person of action. You're a person that takes action. That's great. That's the best kind of person to be, taking action. Okay, so he says, can remove them for as low as $100 per tooth and up to $400 to $450 per tooth, completely holistic. Wow. Yeah, they're the people that Dr. Bergman goes to. I haven't done much research into them, but I know Dr. Bergman has, and he's gone there, and he really likes them. So I'm just partial to Dr. Stuart Nunley because he's kind of a friend of ours and just a heart of gold. Love that guy. But wherever you go, make sure they're holistic. Change the man and it changes the world. Maybe we can make a coffee enema toilet adapter. And super creepy, but maybe an idea. That'd be pretty funny, wouldn't it? A coffee enema toilet adapter. Nikki says, hey, Nikki, nice to see you here. It's been a while since I've seen you. A king takes the whole pie and all the blackbirds beneath the crust. That's awesome. So, Sean, interesting. You said low frequency on the PEMF device. What if you started using a high frequency device? We just did a show with Dr. William Pollack, not Gerald Pollack, William Pollack. If you go back and look on our YouTube channel, that would have been probably sometime in September of 2018. September 2018, all about PEMF. So that would be interesting to use a high frequency device. Wow, but you've been treating people for 9 years. Okay, so that's good. It's working for you. My Boring Life says, I do a full body cold laser in my office with microcurrent redox signaling molecules, endermology. Wow. See? Where on the news, in the mainstream media, are you going to get information about a cold laser device with microcurrent technology and redox signaling molecules? They're not teaching our doctors these things, I can tell you that. Maria says, love listening to you. Always something new to learn and share so others can learn too. Well, thank you, Maria. Here's the thing that I was thinking about before starting the show today. I was almost thinking to myself, wow, if I stick to the notes, like I have so much to share, but I may not get to it all. But this is what I was thinking about. I kind of had this doubt. I'm like, because if you follow our work, you know that we kind of tie in a lot of the same subjects, which is like personal development, spirituality, personal growth, mindset, light water magnetism, and detoxification, cleansing water, stuff like that. But I thought before I started the show, like, do I have anything new to share? And I don't know about you guys, but the majority of what I listen to on my iPod is I don't listen to music, and I should because it makes me feel good. But I listen to all health podcasts. I listen to health podcasts. I try to pick up pieces that I can share with you guys. And the stuff that I research, it's all health related. And then I spend a smaller part of the time researching other topics too, like I talked about before, like, where money comes from, natural law, stuff like that. Really interested in all that stuff. If you look at any subject matter, this is what's so fascinating to me, talking about putting all the pieces of the pie together. You look at any subject matter, what they teach you in school is the lie, for one. What they teach you in school is flat out not even true, most of it. And if it is true, it's completely unrelated to anything you're ever going to use in life. As I've gotten older and more removed from school, I become more and more dogmatic about that sort of idea. I used to say this when I was 15, but no one believed me when I was 15 because I'm 15, right? But what you're learning in any subject matter through the traditional media is not only not true, but so unrelatable and so non-consequential to the actions that take place in your life that it's almost meaningless to spend time learning that stuff. But when you realize and start understanding that in the same way that you guys are all here because of natural health and this idea that we can use, like My Boring Life. You can use laser therapy. You can use light, microcurrents. If you look in the work of the oral surgeon, Dr. Robert O. Becker in the 60s, using microcurrents to regrow limbs. I mean, this stuff, you don't hear about this stuff in medical school. You don't hear about the real history of what really happened in history class. You learn all the fake crap that has no meaning on your life and is completely boring. And then you have to memorize dates and all that stuff. If you look into science, you look into every subject matter, you're going to realize that there's an underlying piece there that is the actual truth of what's going on, but you got to dig to get to it. And that's what makes life so fascinating. And that's why it's so fascinating to me, this whole idea of natural health, because, man, if there's people out there, like, look at your friends, look at all your friends and family and how sick they are. And you realize, like, you could help these people. You could help them if they would just be open to you. But that's not our job. Our job is not to make people do things, right? Our job is for us to grow. And our job is to have some sort of exploratory spiritual growth for us to be able to do that. It opens up a can of worms when you try to help people that don't want your help. And that becomes a real issue. But it kind of frustrates you sometimes because you're thinking, like right now, my mom is dealing with, her body has some extra cells. Actually, her body did have some extra cells in her breast. As many of you guys know, she's had bouts with cancer since 1995. And this is why I created this show, to realize that give people hope and options, right? So right now she's dealing with some extra cells in her breast, but she's not taking action on any of the stuff because of fear. And the reason why she's afraid is because she has been listening to mainstream news for too long. So that's why it's so important. Spiritual growth and personal development absolutely has to be a part of what you guys and what I'm all about. Because if we're not growing as people, we don't have anything to share. If I stop learning, like Jim Rohn says, the more you learn in any career, the more you earn. And the more you learn, the more I can share with you guys, and the more you can share with other people. So I encourage you guys, like Jim Rohn says, to turn your car into a mobile university. Learn as much information as you can. And that way it gives you options and choices. And so, yes. TB Mag says, yes, no one understands. I'm with you. Understanding is an interesting word because it ultimately means standing underneath the weight of an argument. And so when you stand underneath it, you're essentially saying, I take responsibility for the information that I'm being exposed to, and I will take action as such. And so that's why the judge in the courtroom always uses the word, do you understand? Because he's not asking if you comprehend the words. He's asking, do you stand under these charges? Do you stand under this information? Do you understand? And so understanding is an interesting word when you get into really what it's all about. And so a lot of people don't understand. That is to say that they are not exposed to the information that they could be held responsible for. Julia says, yes, you would think I was doing voodoo. Oh my gosh, Julia, what were you doing? The people were thinking you're doing voodoo. TBG Mag says we need to start a place where we can all connect instead of feeling alone on our health life journeys. I know. Well, that's what the Extreme Health Academy. That's one of the reasons why we started that. We have over 1,000 people in there now. People just like you guys in the chat room, and that's why we started that community. But still, it's ultimately a digital community, right? So, we need people that we can actually have face-to-face conversations with and be friends with and share their energy, And so maybe we'll start doing something like that with regards to the Extreme Health Academy, like events and stuff. But ultimately, we all have to go back to our home and sort of interact with the people who are there to push our buttons. And that's why they're there, so that we'll grow. I believe love makes the difference to give people the freedom to see past the movement they find themselves. It does for me. Yeah. Voodoo, people look at you like you're a freak. Yeah, it's weird, man. If people really understood like what I do in my life, and I'll share with you some really weird things that I do that I think that you guys would probably laugh at. But if I shared them with any other group other than this, people would think I'm crazy. So one of them is drinking my own urine. So you're an animal. You know, I haven't done it for a couple months, but I did it for a good 6 years, and I don't know why I got off of it. But I would drink my own urine in the morning because of multiple reasons why and how good of a practice, of a spiritual practice that is, to drink your own pee. I did it sort of as a homeopathic, so I would just mix it in a little bit of water or a little bit of apple cider vinegar. We've done some shows on urine therapy if you guys want to look at our archives. But if you told anyone you drink your urine, I mean, they're going to think you're crazy, right? But how crazy are you? Like if you're someone who says, I have, let's say you take a conventional two people. They're both diagnosed with some life-threatening illness. I'm not even going to say the C word because I don't want to give it power. But they're both diagnosed with some kind of, C condition going on. One says, okay, I'll do whatever you tell me, doc, whatever you tell me. I'll do all the chemo. Then the other person says, I will do whatever it takes, and I don't care how long it takes. And I will be open-minded and try everything I need to do in order to live. Which person do you think is going to live? So if you said to that person, drinking your own urine is going to be a huge part of your healing process, do you think that person would get results? So how open-minded are we? But if I were to say to my in-laws that I drink my own urine, they would think I'm crazy. They would think I'm absolutely nuts. Or how about this? How about what Nathan Walz was saying on the show? If you guys didn't catch the beginning of this show, we talked about a pretty eye-opening show we did with Nathan Walz a couple days ago about why light is more important than food. And he was talking about the hormone melatonin being able to, for the body to be able to create melatonin locally in the skin, on our solar panel, locally in the tissues where it's being exposed to the sun. So all of a sudden, you start wondering, okay, the two most highly diagnosed people are prostate cancer in men and breast cancer in women. So what does that tell you? If we're able to create melatonin locally in the skin, that we need to get our prostates in the sun and we need to get our breasts in the sun. And our testicles as a guy, our vaginas as a woman, we need to get the whole body in the sun, right? Okay, so what do I do with that? So now, how do you get your prostate in the sun? Well, kind of get creative, right? Could you imagine if someone looked over the fence and saw me doing that in my backyard? But these are the types of things that I do. So how important is life to you? I mean, would you rather go to a conventional medical doctor when you're 70 years old and have him tell you something like that your body now has this issue? Or would you rather get your boobs in the sun? Or would you rather get your prostate or your family jewels in the sun? Like what would you rather have? And how important is all this stuff to you? And so that's another thing people think we're crazy. I would be crazy if I told them. But I can tell you guys because you guys are, a part of this amazing group. Or if you walk into our house at night, you probably follow our Instagram. If you follow our Instagram, we did a video last night of our kids sleeping. Our kids have been sleeping for like 12 hours a night. And one of the things that we do is all of our lighting is orange and red light. So you come over to our house and expect like this bright light and all this great stuff. And, you're not going to see it. You're going to see weird orange light. And yeah, it's weird. Yeah, is drinking my own urine weird? Totally. I agree. It's weird. It's weird only because that's not what our society does. It's not what our culture does. Is it weird putting your prostate in the sun? Totally. Completely weird. I get it. It's weird. But how weird is the conventional lifestyle that we live right now? Like I'm sitting in front of a computer. How weird is that? Right? You guys are working. We're all working jobs that we don't like. How weird is that? We're working in environments we don't like. We're in relationships we don't like. We're driving in cars. We're flying in airplanes. I mean, how weird is this construct, this entire life that we now live, but that we think is normal? It's completely abnormal. And this is what's causing disease. This is what's causing us to age rapidly. This is what's causing our mitochondria to break down. This is what's causing us to get tired. This is what's causing our body to have an inability of ATP to create energy to replicate cells correctly. So this is the modern way of life is what's causing disease. And yeah, so let me see what you guys are saying in the chat room. You guys have so many cool things. It feels good to be a part of a group. I tell you, for me at least. I'm sure for you guys too. I believe love makes the difference. Love, caring gifts, freedom, and life. I'm so excited to hear about why light is more important than food. Lemuel says, yeah. Listen to that interview we did. In fact, you know what you could do? You could go to our store, because I have 3 videos there in our store. In our store, I try to put like educational content regarding light. So in one of the products, either the blue blocks or if you go to our store and go to the light section, this is why I created light, water, magnetism in our store, and EMF, because I think those are some of the areas of life that are the most pressing right now in 2018. But if you go to the light section, then if you go to either the blue blocks or the true dark, you'll see 3 videos there. One is with Andy Mant, the owner of Blue Blocks. The other one is with Dr. Jack Cruz, and the other one is with Nathan Walz. And all 3 are there if you guys want to learn more about why light is more important than food. Which it sounds like anathema, right? It sounds like I'm sort of pissing on the holy grail of the alternative health movement. But in my opinion, we all need to start learning physics, me included, if we really want to understand why the body has these invisible processes that food doesn't fix. So our body has invisible processes that go on, that happen. It's what's causing a cancer stem cell to grow. That's the kind of level that physics gets into, and spirituality. What is the cause? What's that cause? It's causing a cell to replicate more than it should, right? So that's what's really, really what it's about. So Petro says, the light you have in the background, colors, good colors seem full spectrum. Yeah, the light we have in the background, the salt lamp, I put a red light in it, a little sunlight. You get them from Amazon. You can get a little red light. But the other 2 that go sort of change colors, yeah, not good. So I turn them off. Obviously I'm not looking at them. But what I would recommend is go to our store and download a program called Iris. It's $15, and it's the best. I could not live without that program. It's one of the most important pieces of health tools that I have, and it's a simple software program that eliminates all blue light from your computer. So that's what I use to mitigate. I've developed seroma A6 after a double mastectomy. Oh my goodness, Dina. Wow, I'm not sure what a seroma A6 is. MFTR. Are you saying after a double mastectomy? I think after. Wow. So you're saying that there's some cancer cells that have developed. We did a recent show, Dina, with Dr. Veronique Desagné about breast cancer, and there's a lot of things you can do for yourself, because obviously this is a systemic disease, right? And I believe that you can and will heal. And if I can help you, let me know. There's a lot of sort of resources I put together at extremehealthradio.com/126. And so there's a lot of anti-cancer resources there that I put together. I add to it over the years as I learn and do more research. Let's see. How can light help heal this? So Dina, it's a systemic issue. So right now, you are standing, you're standing at the forefront of a massive rabbit trail. If you've never heard about light, you're standing at the door of a huge cave, and that cave is going to take you miles and miles and miles down a rabbit trail of information about light and what light does to the mitochondria. So what happens is that I can't go into detail right now because we're almost at 2 hours, but it's not applying a light that's going to help you heal. It's changing your entire light environment and your electromagnetic field, non-native EMF environment. And so light is going to be the number one part of your protocol here. So what that means is getting more light on your skin, preferably in the first morning sun, because that has the perfect color temperature, 1800 color temperature 1800 Kelvin. The blue light is toxic, and that's what's giving us all disease. Dr. Cruz says that 98% of all diseases is caused by non-native electromagnetic field radiation, and blue light is part of that. Dr. What's his name? Dr. Doug Walz says 85% of all disease of man is caused by mitochondrial dysfunction. Julia says, thank you. We will get there and be stronger and more resilient than before. That's true. This show is the truth. Thank you, Justin. Jeffrey, you're so welcome, man. I do what I can. Try to do, try to bring a lot of different pieces out. We're not focusing just on, not just focusing on light, not just focusing on spirituality, not just focusing on food or fitness, all that stuff. There's so much more. Piecing all these puzzles together is the work of a lifetime. Thank you, Justin says. I feel naked without these Blue Blocks glasses on. I don't even want to open my eyes without them on. Thank you for doing what you do. You're so welcome, Justin. I appreciate it. Thanks for being here. A lot of people out there trying to. I feel like I'm sort of alone in the natural health community with regards to trying to put all of the pieces together. But even just a light piece, there's a small group of us, probably 15, 20 different people now that are understanding really what light does. But I feel like we're alone in that respect too, because people want to sell you supplements. Supplements are great, but if you don't get your light environment fixed, man, it's not going to go well for you, because that's how genetic expression is controlled by mitochondria. Mitochondria is primarily controlled by light. Temperature, vibration, sound, frequency, and water as well control mitochondria, but mitochondria primarily are controlled by light. Tiki, good to have you here too, man. Yeah, good to have you here. This is cool. It's good to see you. Love the truth. Julia says, it is frightening going against a lifetime of teachings. I had no choice, as I was told I was difficult to diagnose and even harder to treat. So I had to look at alternative means. What did you have going on with your body, Julia? Yeah. Nude Mecca, 5 o'clock prostate sun exposure. Nude Mecca. Does urine not carry toxins from the body? So are you just not taking them back? No, Julia, urine does not, in my understanding, does not carry toxins from the body. It's not a part of the detoxification pathway of the body, according to this guy Sage we had on. So go do some listening to a couple different shows we've had on urine therapy. You can find essentially what you're doing with urine therapy is re-educating the body and teaching the body what's foreign and what's domestic. So if you have any kind of autoimmune diseases going on, this is going to be a big part of that. So Petros, please tell us a place where you buy the colored lens glasses. Okay, yeah, they're in our store. If you go to extremehealthradio.com, up at the top, you'll see an area that says store, or a link, an area that says store. And if you go to our store, you'll see light, water, magnetism up at the top. And under light, you'll see products for blocking blue light, which is like the iris that I talked about, the glasses. I recommend getting lots of different types of glasses from different companies too. I like them all, and I like what they're all doing. And why is this important? Why is it important to get lots of different glasses? Because some you may need that look kind of stylish, like this, right? Some you may need as just sort of throwaway that you don't care if they get scratched. Some you might need to just put on the counter. So we have ones on our counter. We have different ones for different times of the day. If I were working in an environment all day long, I would wear yellow glasses. I have my yellow ones at home, and I wear those in the morning anytime I'm inside. And then as the day progresses, I wear orange, dark orange, and ultimately a red tint to block out the full spectrum of the frequency of light that's damaging our mitochondria. And so I recommend getting lots. I recommend buying as many different types of glasses as you possibly can. Have some in your car, have some at work, have some in just different places that you go. If you go to a gym and have a locker there, have some there. And so become a connoisseur of these things, because this is how you protect your nervous system. It's how you protect. You look at all the depression, low dopamine levels. Look at in China, they have something called celibacy syndrome, where children between 20 and 25 years old are having less sex because of this thing called celibacy syndrome, right? So they're not interested in sex at all because they're being exposed to all of this blue light and technology. And it's destroying our hormones, fixing your light environment. And one aspect of fixing is blocking. So this idea of defense, it's like basketball. You got to have defense. You got to have offense. You got to have a strong defensive sort of protocol you follow to block the blue light. Then you got to have an offensive strategy. How am I going to use light, like Dina was saying earlier with her body's extra cells going on? How do I use light therapeutically? And there's ways to do that. So this whole light piece is so massive. So all that to say, it's in our store, and it's called Blue Blocks. These are the ones I wear. These are the ones I like. I'm going to sign up to promote another company as well, because I just like what they're all doing. And they're all doing different things, and I recommend buying as many different types as you can for different times of the day, for different reasons. So it's really, really, really important, this whole light thing. It's part of my mission to educate people and to get people to do their own research, which it sounds like you guys are doing, which is great. The urine ideally should be drank when you have a clean and healthy diet. Most toxins are excreted via the feces. Yeah, well, that's part of the education process that urine therapy gives to you, is that it teaches you just how toxic your diet is, and it sort of educates you, gives you a direct feedback response to the food you're eating. Right? So if you start eating too much sugar or too much processed food, you're going to realize very, very quickly that that's bad. And the urine will tell you that, especially when you force yourself to drink it. Like I said before, I just do like a teaspoon, and I mix it with like an ounce of water, and I just do it as a shot, or I add some apple cider vinegar, and I can't even taste it. I'm detoxing heavy metals, so probably avoid drinking it just now and then. Yeah, Julie, I don't know about that one. That's interesting. Should you avoid drinking your own urine when you're detoxing heavy metals? I probably would, because you have a lifetime, right? You have at least 150 years left, so you can drink it later. We're not alone on Truther Island anymore. Truther Island. That should be the name of this show. Truther Island. Cheapest blue light blocking glasses are Uvex on Amazon, less than $10. That's true. Big Fat Mama. What a name that is. Big Fat Mama. That's true. On 10, yeah, I got mine. I have 3 pairs of those cheap ones, and I use them. I use them for different, if I'm going to go out to the garage, or I'm going to do different things. If I don't care about what people think about me, I'll wear those around the house sometimes, and I use them every day. I use all the pairs of glasses I have every day. Even something as simple as opening up the refrigerator is creating a biological and a circadian mismatch in your body. If you open that refrigerator up at 9 o'clock at night, you've just told your body it's noon in the summer in July. So what happens to your body as a result? What cascading effects of hormones happens as a result of creating all of these circadian mismatches by the way we're living our life, right? So really what you should do is install a red light in your refrigerator. But that's the thing. People think we're crazy, right? People think we're absolutely nuts if we do these things. Can you imagine inviting some friends over who are not on board with the kind of stuff we're talking about, and they walk into a house full of red light, they open the fridge, it's a red light in the fridge, but it's what's necessary. Gidri says, I know how you feel. I'd never tell any of my friends I'm doing coffee enemas and the turpentine protocol. I know, right? People are afraid of what they don't know. And people are kept busy from researching, even though we live in the age of information. We're kept busy so that we never do research. And as long as we never expose ourselves to new information and more research, we'll always be afraid of things, because human beings are inherently afraid of the unknown. And so that's what's why people are so afraid. Once they start learning, knowledge effectively helps to mitigate fear. So let's see. The microtubules in the cells play a fundamental role in all disease. They are quantum information transducers. Wow, that was a lot. Okay, Petro says, what benefit do you get from drinking your own urine? I don't really get much benefit myself, but I don't do it as full on as most people do. Like I said, I do about a teaspoon. I don't notice any difference at all, really. But sometimes, you know, like doing these health practices, you don't feel any different. You might take a supplement, you don't feel any different. You might take some enzymes with your meal, don't feel any different. Just because you don't feel something doesn't mean it's not good. But the ultimate goal is to be able to feel everything. So just because you don't feel something doesn't mean it's not working or it's not good. Let's see. I agree with you, Gidri. I have red Christmas lights in my salt lamps. Yeah, me too. Yeah, that's what I recently did that too. I put red Christmas lights in all of my salt lamps. Anyone tried a cheap and strong Gauss PEMF, and anyone know where to get a cheap Schumann resonator? I've worked with the high frequency ones and the low ones, Big Fat Mama, and I use the IMRS, and that's a low frequency device. I use that every day. But if I had some acute situation going on or a condition I was trying to get over pretty quick that was kind of like a time sensitive thing, I would probably go for a stronger one. As far as a Schumann resonator, I don't know. There were some that I was looking at years ago, but I don't remember the name of it off chance. Blue light is a part of the solar spectrum. That is true. Here's the problem with the blue light that we're getting from any light that we get, whether it's the Juve that we have, you're getting photonic energy. It's not biophotons. Biophotons are more easily available to the body. So that's number one. Any light therapy you do, if it's a fake light, if it's not the sun or a fire or a flame of some kind, it's going to be artificial light. Doesn't mean it's bad for you. It just means it's not as good as the sun. The sun is the optimal. That's the barometer upon which we compare everything to. So blue is always in the sun. It's blue in the sun is let me see the right way to say this. It's perfectly combined with red and orange and purple. And so blue from the sun is healing, but blue from our computer screens is 5 times more stronger than the sun. So so let's say you wake up and you check your phone first thing in the morning. You're getting 5,000 to 6,500 Kelvin with 4 times the amount of blue with no mitigating red or purple. So you've just told yourself, and now it's solar noon, but it's really 6 a.m. And so blue light is really, really damaging, incredibly damaging. Big Fat Mama says, have you tried the blue True Dark glasses and working on computers? I'm still somewhat weary with blue light blocking and iris flux on my monitor late at night. I have, yeah. I prefer the iris because I don't have to wear glasses, even though I still wear the glasses sometimes. I have the yellow ones from True Dark, and I have the red ones from True Dark. The red ones are the ones that I wear about 2 hours before bed. And then I don't wear the yellow ones that much because I like really light frames like this. I like frames that don't put a lot of weight on my nose and head and stuff. And so, but I wear the red ones from True Dark, and I really like those. Those are incredible. They block out all green light as well. It's pretty incredible. Andre Norton Weber has videos on it and says urine is sterile and has stem cells in it. Also an antidote for many things. Yeah, Andrew Norton Weber is big proponent of urine therapy and distilled water as well. Blue turns off melatonin release. Red in the morning with blue turns on melatonin production. Yeah, and the problem is that not only does it turn off melatonin release, but it also leaks the melatonin that we do produce in the morning. So if you go out in the morning sun and get a ton of melatonin created in your eye in the morning, and then you go under artificial light all day long, you're going to leak all that melatonin, all of that incredibly powerful hormone for fighting cancer and for regulating the body and the tissue and setting their eye clock off. All of that incredible stuff that helps you fall asleep. You're going to leak all that out from light. So, yeah, we get too much blue light and red at wrong times. Agreed. Do you know if heat will damage DHA, omega-3 during processing like grass-fed ghee? Will the DHA be intact? As far as my understanding goes, the heat does affect the DHA. And so, but I don't know for sure. Obviously, I haven't done any like research on it recently. But I take ghee all the time. I take it every day. It's a staple. I'm going to start doing some goat ghee here pretty soon, so I'll let you guys know how that does. What are the best untainted DHA sources? Jack Cruz recommends raw oysters, but I'm not a fan of things growing in polluted water with pharmaceuticals and hormones. Yeah, Dr. Cruz is a big fan of raw oysters. He says that the molecular bond angle of the DHA needs to be in the SN2 position in order for the body to upregulate it. And according to him, I'll give you a couple different takes on this. According to him, seafood, which is the most important food on the planet because it contains the most amount of DHA, contains this DHA in the SN2 position. I don't know what that means because I don't know what SN2 really he's referring to. Dr. Cruz is a smart dude, so I don't know exactly what he means there. But if it's not in the SN2, according to him, it's not utilized by the body. Then you have people like Matt Blackburn and Shervine doing the DHA that we have in our store, which is the algae-based DHA. Now, Dr. Jack Cruz would adamantly disagree with me on this, or disagree with me in general about DHA. But I don't know. I don't know. So what they say is that acid rain has caused the world's oceans to change in their pH. So the pH of the oceans are changing worldwide. And the result of that is that the immune systems of the fish and the sea life, the aquatic life, is being lowered. And now that their immune system is lowered, you can look through most fish and see parasites in it. And so now you're getting parasites, microscopic and or otherwise, in all of these raw oysters. Dr. Cruz would probably say that's not a big deal. If your body's effectively, has ATP production and you're managing your light environment, then that's not going to be a problem. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I would say go with your gut. I would say go with your gut on this. We like the DHA that's the algae-based that's in our store from Matt and Shervine. We take that, but if you feel drawn to oysters and doing those raw, then go for it. I think it's just one of those things you have to sort of experiment with. A lot of people. I haven't even checked. I haven't even checked Facebook yet. This is so freeing. Carla says this is so freeing. Thank you. Susan says, having hard-grown children, seeing them ignore their health to a large extent. Wish all the seminars were taught in school. Back up to what I try to inform them on. Susan, I know. Let me just share with you something that I think was really interesting that was shared to me by a doctor friend of mine from the show. And we're going to go out and see him when we go out to Texas here pretty soon and hang out with him. But he was talking about this idea that when we try to evangelize other people and get them to see the world the way we want them to see the world, and to help them when they don't want our help, he explained a really interesting thing called Cartman's triangle. Cartman's I think it's KARP as in Peter, Cartman's drama triangle, and you can look this up. And I'll just sort of kind of mention it here. It's going off memory, so it may not be completely accurate, but there might be something here that could help you. And that is that human beings live in one of three energy fields, typically, for the most of their life. And we can switch between them at different times. But generally, we live in three energy fields. One is the victim, and that is, woe is me. I've always got a diagnosis. I've always got something wrong with my health, and we always have to talk about it. Woe is me. The other one is the perpetrator, and that is someone who's got a very dominant energy. That is someone who goes around and just, takes life by the horns, and it's my way or the highway, and I'm going to do what I want to do no matter what. That's the perpetrator energy. And the third energy is the helper energy. And that is people like us who want to help people, right? We always want to help people. And so the problem with those three energy fields is that we can move from one to the other, but generally we remain stuck in those fields. And so what he was explaining about this is that if we try to help someone, if we're in that helper energy field and we try to help someone who doesn't want our help, then we have just now started the process of becoming more sick than they are. So that's pretty fascinating. So what that means is that we need to be careful how we spend our energy. I'll share with you an example of this. I did something like this recently, and I'll share with you an example of how I put this into practice in my own life just 3 days ago. So you have the victim, you have the perpetrator, and you have the helper. And oddly enough, the energy field, the person in one of those three energy fields that has the strongest immune system and who lives the longest is, guess which one? It's the perpetrator. Why would that be? Because the perpetrator's immune cells and the white blood cells in their immune system takes on that same mentality of, I can overcome anything. I never get sick. I'm going to laugh. I'm going to enjoy my life. I'm going to drink. I'm going to smoke. I'm going to live life to the fullest. I don't care what anyone says or does. My immune system's strong, blah, blah, blah. And they just go do what they do. Those are the people like George Burns, right? These people that live till you're 105 years old have a strong, strong perpetrator energy. And it makes sense because our physiology, our body responds to the words that we think and to the actions that we take and the thoughts we think. And so what he was saying is that he talked about Freud and how Freud mentioned in this that we never make it to that third dimension, because all three of those energy fields are basically in the second dimension. It's like that book Flatlands, right, where it talks about what it would be like if you lived in only 2 dimensions. And so it's like flat in a flat plane, but we never make it to that third dimension that gets to elevate itself and to look down on those 3 energy fields and not identify with any of them, and to be the silent observer. And that's when you really start optimizing your health, because much of our energy and our immune system is caught up with these 3 energy fields. And so when we get to that place of being that third dimensional silent observer, we can take things as they come and realize that we're none of those things, and we don't let things happen. For me lately, I have not been that silent observer. I've allowed stress to really overtake my life in the last few weeks. And so I recognize that, right? And so we're always, as people, working on these things. And so we never make it to the calm pastures that are talked about in Psalm 23. We don't make it there because we're stuck in these 3 energy fields. And so when we help someone who doesn't want our help, we're already on our way to becoming more sick than they are. That's a powerful thing to think about. And I'll share with you something a couple days ago that came up for me. So my mom is friends with a lot of these people at church, and these people at church everyone's sick. Everyone's sick. This guy, I'm not sure what kind of cancer his body has, but he's got some extra cells going on, and none of the conventional treatments are working. And so my mom says to me, hey, would you be able to send me some links to your shows that you've done with, or, Ty Bollinger's Truth About Cancer, or something that might help this guy? He's willing to try anything. And then I thought about it, and I thought about my time, and like, man, I really want to help this guy, right? But I don't want to give my energy away. And so how do you turn someone down who wants help? And then it dawned on me, these 3 applications, these are 3 principles. And then it dawned on me that I'd be giving away my power if I did that, because I have things that I need to do to help more people. And so what I said to her was, I said, Mom, why don't you have that guy, whatever his name is, give him my email address. It's just justin@extremehealthradio.com. Send him my email and tell him to email me and I will help him. And this was like a week and a half ago. And my mom told me that he's desperate, he's looking for help, and, blah, blah, blah. And it's like trying to help someone who doesn't want help, right? All of us are exposed to these kinds of people in our life, and we want to help everyone. But sometimes people aren't here for that. Sometimes people aren't here to get your help. Maybe they're here to grow as a result of whatever illness they're trying to, or they're going through. Brandon says here on Facebook, Extreme Health Academy, trying to help stubborn people is nearly impossible, but thank God for all your guys' efforts to bring awareness. I feel you guys are part of my spiritual family. Yeah, thank you, Brandon. I appreciate that. This whole thing is a no one gives us any sort of manual on how to live, do they? So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Adam Bergstrom will be on again at some point. We'll get him back on. He's a cool guy. Bob, you said, I have a dead mouse under the kitchen floor. Got to go get some fresh air, please. Nice. I make a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. So I'm trying to. What do you think are the best methods we have to protect ourselves from chemtrails? Obviously, there is major key in keeping healthy light from reaching us. Yeah, I was just reading recently that there's a 30% diminishing factor of solar rays from hitting the sun. From the solar rays hitting the Earth as a result of chemtrails. So it's a big deal. So it's these nanoparticles are, as what's his name calls them, Tony Pantelleresco, who is on our show, are a major factor in our health. And so the major factor in terms of mitigating this stuff is becoming as healthy as you possibly can. You can't walk around really with like a filter around your neck all the time. And, I know there's different filters that you can get that, you can take them on planes and stuff that sort of ionize the air. And so, I will find red lights tonight. Yeah. Red light to indicate. Yeah, red light does indicate a whorehouse, and that's kind of what's interesting, right? It's like you look into our house and it looks like the red light district. Yeah, I agree. It's weird. Yeah, so if you guys are interested in any of the light products, we have the Juve in our store. That's the one that I use, and I really like that one a lot. So much so that I was up at 12:30 last night using mine because it's part of my health discipline to do that every day, and I didn't have a chance yesterday to do it. And so I was up at 12:30 using my Juve right after I got out of my sauna. So, in terms of chemtrails, yeah, it's a big issue. It's a big issue. It's a big issue. We need to become, there's lung cleanses you can get from Global Healing Center. There's, I did a whole podcast on lung health, which you might want to look into. You're going to want to look at heavy metal detoxification, filtering your water, which is why I like to use the Omica water filter that's in our store. That's a 12-stage reverse osmosis. You're going to want to learn, really, these things are happening to us, and we have to, if we're going to, continue to live, we have to figure out a way to mitigate this stuff. Dr. Stuart Hammerhoff on microtubule function of the brain, he covers the evidence that strongly suggests microtubules interact with quantum processing. All right, I'll check him out. Anytime you use the word quantum, I'm interested. I used to read books back in the day like Schrodinger's Cat and The Elegant Universe by Brian Greene, Flatland. All about the quantum universe. I love how Bob Dylan has a dead mouse underneath his sink right now. Yeah, so My Boring Life, Apple, the night shift is not enough. You're going to want to get some filters for that. I don't know if Iris makes a app for iPhones, but I know that if you go through our Instagram, I share with you the instructions on how to lower effectively remove all of the blue light from your phone. And you can do that. You can set up a little shortcut, and you can do that on your phone. And with three clicks of a button, you can eliminate all the blue in your phone. I also use filters from lowbluelights.com for this. All right, you can direct your spirit to meet your beloved one out of body and sleep state. The healing needed has not the barrier of judgment, and thus the blessing occurs. I like that. That's cool, Nikki. Jet says, we are the light. That's true. Well, guys, check this out. I have a whole list of things that I was going to get to. I was going to get to the real cause of cancer, some sleep tips. I was going to get to a really interesting cancer healing journey, a study on fasting I wanted to tell you guys about. The cause of all disease is a lack of this particular vitamin. Maybe I'll have to do this on another show. The problem is that you guys are in the chat room and you're distracting me from doing a show because I love reading your comments so much and answering your questions and helping you. But that's the problem. I had some thoughts on daylight savings time. Had some questions from listeners about strokes, coffee enemas, and dental health, along with some thoughts I've done on meditation. So unfortunately, we've been going 220, and I haven't even got to those yet. So in any event, let me read a couple more things from Facebook here. Brandon says, I've never met Dr. Bergman or you guys, but the amount of hours I've put in ever since I've needed health have been the most educational thing I've ever been a part of, and now I can recite most of your guys' lectures and has changed my life more than anything. More than anything, thank you guys. And now everyone around me for the rest of my life will be helped thanks to your guys' efforts. Trying to help stubborn, So thank you, Brandon. I appreciate that. It is interesting, right? It's interesting, this whole health piece. I'm telling you, when you start feeding your body minerals and your synapses and your mind start working and you're able to connect the dots between different things, you start understanding the matrix that we live in, and it becomes this incredible life process where we get to pursue all of these rabbit trails and really look into things and how things work. So Brandon, I'm glad to have you aboard, man. It's super, super awesome you're here. We're doing shows every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And let me just bring up our show schedule. Don't forget to tune into our show on Monday with Morley Robbins. We'll be talking about iron toxicity and the root cause protocol. And then Wednesday, Robert Carrillo, thecancertutor.com. He's from that website. Really nice guy. And then on Friday, Allison Hush's story about her brain tumor and using essential oils to overcome that. So crazy, crazy stuff. So that is going to be it, guys. I'm gonna go eat some fruit. I got an apple here because I want to make sure and eat in season. And I got a pear in here, so I want to eat in season. Anything else you guys are saying that I should comment on? Hit the like button. Yeah, thanks, guys, for liking this. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscribe on iTunes. I was a stage 4 cancer, got rid of it in less than 3 months, all natural. Oh, my gosh. Okay, Jet, you got to tell us how you did this. How did you get rid of stage 4 cancer in 3 months, all natural? Keep going. Love the show. Thanks, Aaron. I appreciate that. Vitamin C, green tea extract, green living plants, whole food, positive thoughts. We can heal. Your mind is so important. Yes, we are so powerful. That is true. Wow. What kind of cancer did your body, what kind of extra cells did your body have to teach you? That's what we should say. Cancer is such a loaded word, isn't it? All right, guys, we love you so much. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of our shows, and let us know if we can ever help. If you haven't signed up to the Academy, make sure to do that. I highly recommend it if you guys want to take your health to the next level. Nikki says your enthusiasm is infectious. Well, thank you, Nikki. I appreciate that. We're trying to help people who want help, all right? Trying to hang out with the right people, and that's you guys. Don't want to help the people that don't want help. They don't need help, and that's fine. But it's hanging out with like-minded people is always fun. So, all right, love you guys so much. Make sure to join the Extreme Health Academy if you want to go even further with all this stuff. It is extremehealthacademy.com. And let me put a link to it right here if you guys want to join. HTTPS extremehealthacademy.com. And then use the code EHR14 for a free 14-day trial. Thank you for sharing. Kisses to the twins. Yeah, thank you, Maria. We really appreciate it. Yeah, you guys rock. All right, guys. Hope you have a great Friday. I'm going to go home and eat, hang out with Kate, get in some sun, and enjoy the rest of my day. So let us know if we can ever help. And make sure to come join us on Monday with Morley Robbins. And I'm going to put the old disclaimer up saying that we can't cure anything. We can't do any of that. So love you guys. And the show notes will be extremehealthradio.com/618. All right. Love you all. And we will see you Monday morning at 10:45 a.m. Pacific time. And until then, I'll see you later. Bye-bye.
No material on this blog is intended to suggest that you should not seek professional medical care. Always work with qualified medical professionals, even if you educate yourself in the field of live food, nutrition, and alternative medicine. I'm not a doctor, nor am I offering readers medical advice of any kind. None of the information offered here should be interpreted as a diagnosis of any disease, nor an attempt to treat or prevent any disease or condition. While information in this blog is discussed in the context of numerous conditions, it can be dangerous to take action based on any information in this blog or to start any health program without first consulting a health professional. The content found here is for informational purposes only and is in no way intended as medical advice, as a substitute for medical counseling, or as a treatment/cure for any disease or health condition, and nor should it be continued as such. Always work with a qualified healthcare professional before making any changes to your diet, prescription drug use, lifestyle, or exercise activities. This information is provided as is, and the reader/viewer assumes all risks from the use, non-use,